What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Knights of Crypto, episode 36, I think. I lost count, but I'm just going to go with 36, and we're going to start back up from there.
That works.
Yeah. We got the usual suspects, and we got special guest Grant over here from Highest of Stakes. So real quick, I'll just let you introduce yourself.
Awesome. I am Grant. I'm a member of Muse Storytelling, a team who is creating a feature-length documentary on cryptocurrency through the lens of the HEX community and Richard Hart. And so I'm co-directing alongside Patrick Moreau, who would have been here tonight had Nomiks not dropped their new calculation for market cap in recent history. And so we're in the throes of filming something right now that we had not expected to be filming. So appreciate you guys having me on, and excited to let you know that on Friday morning I'll be spending time with Clay as a part of the documentary as well.
Oh man, that'll be
in it. We're off to the races.
Wow, that'll be a spicy one. Yeah, man.
Market cap
awesome.
Adjusted just for HEX. No one else.
Yeah, it's a double standard. I mean, I'm so tired of reading about it on Twitter, and I think we all know by now, if you guys haven't heard the story, market cap of HEX was conveniently slashed by Nomiks.com from the number 3 spot to the number 17 spot, just as it was starting to get to the overtaking Ethereum level. Funny how that happened. The CEO, who we thought was a friend and ally of the HEX community, had a sudden change of heart. So I'd like to know what is involved behind the scenes. Is somebody being paid off? Follow the money. As CZ had a little visit to Clay Collins' house from Binance. Who knows, guys? I don't want to point fingers or make anybody more conspiratorial than they already are. But I'm hoping we can get to the bottom of this and reach some kind of conclusion eventually. I'm not going to waste time personally being upset or just whatever, because all that negativity is just not going to get us anywhere. But if we can talk, if you guys could talk to Colin and get the story and more of his perspective, I'm sure that would make for a great kind of narrative building there.
Yeah, we're ready to explore all kinds of conversation, right? Like we're ready to dive into both sides, both the emotion as well as the more tempered kind of evaluation of what may or may not have motivated or led to the change in heart after 2 years, as well as the timing of all of this seems tremendously interesting. So yeah, we're right. And as storytellers, conspiracy is a tremendously interesting exploration, right? So we don't want to encourage anything that's not real and not true, but it certainly is fascinating, the curiosities that we've already seen people conjecture.
And there's more layers to that onion too, if you want conspiracy. I mean, you've got CoinMarketCap that's been gatekeeping HEX since day one. And so, my brain just says follow the money, like I said. And if CoinMarketCap, which is a company owned by Binance, has anything to do with, recent conversations with Nomiks or something along the lines of that, I wouldn't be surprised if, some of the I guess the haters or the naysayers were chirping in Clay's ear. Or maybe he's just being kind of paid off or in preparation for some kind of a merger with a different company. My practical brain says follow the money. My emotional brain says, you're a traitor and I hate you now. But, I'm trying to keep that all aside and keep emotions out of it as much as I can, because, I just want to know what actually happened.
Well, it wasn't even like we were following Nomiks just because they were friends or allies at HEX, right? It was just they were doing something different than the rest of the space. They weren't locking us on page 3 at 201. They weren't not completely listing us like CoinGecko. Like at the time they demonstrated integrity and were listing us properly where no one else in the space was. So like that's why Nomiks stood out to us originally, and that's why we promoted them in the beginning. Like no one knew who Nomiks was. I've been in the space since 2016 and I didn't know who Nomiks was. I knew the big players. I knew the gatekeeping and the toxicity and everything that went behind the scenes, but didn't know who Nomiks was. And then out of nowhere, it was just like, oh, wow, this coin ranking site actually is listing us properly. They're willing to take those slings and arrows with us. So we brought them up alongside of us. We helped build each other up. And where that emotional part comes into play, because it stings that much more when you come up with someone and you think they have your back, and then a lot of people react to say, "Oh, it's emotions and angers," right? It's fine. I don't mind them applying the metrics they're applying to the OA if they so choose, but you have to apply that evenly across the board, and that's what a lot of hexagons don't understand. Is it's cool to say, okay, this is how we're going to deem circulating supply. This is these project coins, these founder coins, they don't count, but you have to apply that across the board to Satoshi, to Vitalik. All these other coins have foundation wallets, founder wallets, all this stuff that for Hex, for the OA, it counts. And it seems like at this point, it's the only thing the OA hasn't done that other founders coins have done is dump on their community's head, which is kind of ironic to me. So this shining principle that the OA has demonstrated, meanwhile, all these other projects have continued to dump on their followers' heads, but the OA is the only one that's getting punished. So it's that targeting of Hex that is my biggest issue. It has like come up out of 2 years out of nowhere. I saw it about a month ago when Clay started doing these line of questions. It was me and a couple other hexagons that were really pushing back, because to me it was quite obvious, the writing on the wall. Like, Clay's not stupid. A lot of this information had already been explained to him. And then it seemed like he was almost proposing these questions just out of a place of ignorance when he already knew this information years ago. And now it's an issue when we're at number 3, and now Ethereum is in danger of being flipped. And, his site will come into question if he ranks Hex ahead of Ethereum, Bitcoin. You have the stuff with CZ, add dollars. Again, follow the money, like you said.
Yep. And yeah, I have talked to Clay early on. Clay, I would consider a friend. I'm not so sure anymore. We haven't spoken in a while, but we were DMing about how he could obtain the most accurate Hex data. I provided him with some API links to actually grab that data. And yeah, they were on our side for a while, providing accurate HEX market cap data, which for those that don't know is simply just the total coins in existence times the price. It's 2 numbers that you can pretty easily grab from public blockchain data. And that's a common metric that all these different ranking websites use to display the top cryptocurrencies. Now, whether or not coin market cap is an actual valid metric that we should be using is up for debate. I mean, personally, I don't really think it matters at all. I mean, it literally does not matter in terms of price. You could skew the coin market cap however you want to do it. It doesn't have to do anything with supply and demand, right? Nobody asks about what's the market cap of gold. How much gold is there in existence when I go buy gold? How much Tesla stock is there in existence? No, they just care about the price, and they care about, what's are we in a bull market, bear market, little shit like that. So, I mean, crypto is kind of wonky in general, and I don't think we need Nomiks when we're onboarding new users, because a lot of times people don't even care about what's the market cap of a certain coin. They want to know, what does the coin do? What's its price performance, and how can I know that my investment will be a good, sound investment? But that being said, again, it does hurt to basically have someone kind of stab you in the back, but at the same time, we're used to that. We're used to that here.
Yeah, it's true.
So here's an interesting line of conversation that I would love to explore with you guys. How do we feel? How do you feel? Because it's not we, it's you. How does the community feel about the way that it engages with someone in a moment like this? When someone has taken a position and has shared something that is a shift or a change from the expectation of where they were before, and then the way that community is now responding. Thoughts around that?
Brand, you want to go first?
I mean, it's not the first time we've seen that kind of happen, where something is like consistent temporarily, and then the true colors kind of show themselves. I do think that Motley had a good point that when Clay was asking those questions about Hex, it was kind of, preemptive, that it seemed like some sort of decision was going to happen, or some sort of change, to the supply and things like that. So, it's not the first time that stuff like that has happened. But now for me, it's like, all right, well, maybe I'll just start using coinpaprika.com instead, like Motley was kind of mentioning. And, hey,
I mean, they're not doing it right either. They're not doing it right either.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
then,
that was more of a spiteful venture on mine. It's like, okay, Clay likes to throw out that we're only 5 to 10% of his market traffic now. In the beginning, just like with Uniswap, we were 50, 60, 80%, a majority of their traffic. And as time goes on, we build up, obviously they become less and less independent. And then again, we run into these issues time and time again. Hex community is very good at promoting, advertising when we're fairly represented. And then time and time after again, we kind of get this knife in our back. And again, this is why Hex is so important. This is why I'd rather trust code than people. It kind of sucks. It's kind of a jaded way to look at the world. But I mean, I've seen it outside of crypto. I've seen it in crypto. And I do kind of carry throughout my life very cautiously and always very aware of when people are presenting questions or there seems to be some other intention from what they're essentially trying to perceive that they are. And I'm just, it kind of sucks. I don't like going through life with that jaded kind of perception, but at the same time, my guard is always up. And especially in this community, we've seen it time and time again. And this is why I pushed back so hard against Clay in the beginning. A lot of people gave me shit in the community for it. But, you know, we provided him accurate data. We gave him Gunther's audit. We gave him Dev Kyle, one of the most intelligent devs we have in the community. We gave him all the resources, but we knew this was all preemptively leading up to this. So I was kind of prepared for it, but it doesn't make it any less painful. And you have two sides of the camp. You essentially have that side of the camp, which is more or less where I line. And then you have the other side that says, hey guys, he supported us this long. I'm sure he's going to make it right. He's working on improve it. I know he just made a correction to add the stake coins, because when you stake coins in Hex, they actually get burned out of existence, so they're not added to the market cap. But to me, it's just trying to save face at this point. That trust, to me personally, is already lost. So it's hard for me to kind of move past that. Once you've done it initially, it's hard to earn that trust back. It's hard. The moment you lose it, it's hard to get back, essentially, for me. So
yeah, Marco, thanks for the tip, man. Just wanted to put that comment up there. I'm not going to read that out loud, but if you guys want to watch, you guys can read it. Appreciate the tip, man. Yeah, I mean, it is an emotional thing, right? And I got to say too, just for a little piece of history, we've done this with other companies before. Or not companies, but projects maybe. We did this with Uniswap. We made Uniswap popular, and we made Nomiks popular, and that's because they were providing a good service that we liked, they were being trustworthy people. Then they proved themselves not to be. I mean, Uniswap purposely didn't list the HEX logo. I mean, it identified HEX as an unknown coin and said, beware of adding this coin. And all we
had to build our own front end.
Yeah, so we basically took things into our own hands. We might even have to do that with Nomiks. We might just fork some kind of ranking site code and have our own ranking site. We don't really need these people, whether they want to come along for the ride or not. It's just, you know, we've seen time and time again that some people, you know, they'll change their mind, or they'll shift their values, and their actions speak louder than words. So if Clay wants to fix it, you know, that's great. And just so you guys know, if anybody hasn't heard by now, if you're living under a rock, the origin address coins that are believed to be like founder coins and Hex were recently discounted from the market cap supply on Nomiks.com for reasons that had been explained to Clay already, but he just kind of changed his mind all of a sudden. Also, you can argue that the origin address coins actually are active coins and not dormant at all. Unlike, let's say, Satoshi Nakamoto's coins.
They've staked. They've pretty much done, and that's what I was saying earlier. They've pretty much done everything you can do to be included as circulating coins. They have the ability to sell and dump on their users' heads at any point. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the only thing they haven't done, is the one negative thing they can do, and that's dump on their followers. Whereas everywhere else, all these large holders, founder wallets, everything that's 90, 88, 100% almost centralized ownership has done so, besides the OA address. And again, we get targeted for kind of being that shining light in crypto. It's ironic.
We're exposing the truth in every coin, and that's what I think a lot of people don't want to look at. So you've got centralized ownership massively. Go ahead.
Hex Machine has a comment, and he says, or whoever, Hexicans rug the shit out of Nomiks on the app ranks. Pretty funny and brutal retribution. And it's like, for me, I don't consider that like retribution. I think that's just, hey, calling something out for what it is, what your opinions are on it. And it's not like it's just feelings, but it's reasons why too. So, you know, that's totally fine for people to change their ranking if they want to, you know?
Yeah, we're just not going to support it.
I might have thrown that out in a few tweets.
If you want to change Hex, change it all, you know, change everything that's actually not circulating. Because, I mean, you got Satoshi's coins, you got Charlie Lee's coins from Litecoin, you got a lot of founders have coins, a lot of OGs have coins, and you just can't do that. If it, like, you can't be what's the word? You got to be even with what you talk about.
This is what makes Hexicans so dangerous in the space, because like all of us have gotten rich off Hex. We get paid for our time. Most of us have retired from our day-to-day jobs. We're working and building other stuff behind the scenes. But essentially Hex has bought our freedom, and this is all we do now. And we don't need to shill referral links to people to survive. We don't need to promote scams. We're not a centralized exchange that does wash trading or ad dollars. Like everything in the space essentially feeds off its users to generate income. And Hex is one of the first truly revolutionary products that it's its own currency. It inflates its own currency to pay users. You get to retain your crypto, which has never been done before. It's true DeFi. People just have an issue with the centralized ownership because they feel they can put a face with it, which is Richard Hart, which they can't. They can make assumptions, but at the end of the day, they can't. And it's just created such animosity and hatred in the space because at the end of the day, Hex destroys the business model this place is essentially turned out over the past couple of years. All these centralized exchanges, like they need these fees to survive, and Hex destroys their business model. And with this is the direction crypto was supposed to go in the beginning. We've just kind of gone so far off the path. It's hard to get back on track, but Richard Hart, this community and everyone, we're building that pathway that crypto was supposed to go down from the beginning. We've kind of fallen off that over the past couple of years, but Hex and this community is bringing it back into the end of the line, I think.
Hey, real quick, again with the tip. Thank you, Wallysaurus. Nice tip, man. Yeah, I used to shill Hex or Nomiks a lot too. Don't know if I will anymore, but do really appreciate the tip. Yeah, it's funny how people get angry and so emotional over someone having more money than them. I think a lot of times it's people projecting their values onto other people. And I've said this before. It's like, why would you hate someone that has more money than you, especially the person that's least incentivized to sell? If you do believe the OA is Richard Hart, why would the guy want to nuke his own project? I mean, to me, that always just seemed like simple logic, but then other people can't get over like that hump in their head of like, oh yeah, Richard Hart actually cares about the project he built and he's actually not a scammer. I mean, to me, that was easy to realize by actually listening to him, but I think it's a lot harder for maybe people with maybe different trust issues that have been burned in the past by similar like promises that are too good to be true, or maybe they just haven't, what I really think is a lot of times they're lazy and they just haven't clicked the button to watch the Richard Hart YouTube video, to look in his eyes and actually see for yourself that he's not a psychopath. I got a question for you, Grant, though. Have you been able to talk to anybody on the other side and hear any kind of reasonable argument as to why the OA is a bad thing or something?
Well, so I think that our preliminary research is a lot of the same stuff that you guys have seen or have circulated among yourselves for quite some period of time now, right? Like it's the Google searches and the YouTube streams that, you know, that are those confrontations that are historic, that, you know, especially when it involves Richard in the moment. Those are the leads that we have, but we're still welcoming and looking for, you know, the community to help us identify those voices that we need to engage with, that we need to sit down and counsel and give voice to them. And, you know, as a part of the HEX story, both the history of what has already happened over the last 2 years, as well as, you know, their current take on exactly what HEX is and what they forecast is the inevitable doom of the community through their eyes.
Yeah.
And, you know, we know that there are some voices that have been loud, and there have been some voices that, you know, feel as though they've taken on the structure of HEX. But for the most part, we found people who have issue with Richard, you know, more so than with the token itself.
Yeah.
So we were welcoming additional insight into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
We can give you some names.
Yeah, well, and we would, I mean, and many of these names we may have already had, but we welcome them all. Is the largest issue. And if you do have these names, both you and the members of the community, the best way to share those with us is to go to thehighestofstakes.com, and there's a survey where you can contribute stories. You can contribute stories of, you know, your personal experience of friends or family or other Hexicans that you know, as well as any of the haters or skeptics or traditionalists or anyone who's, you know, who looks at this community from the outside with judgment and opinion. And Yeah, we need to have conversation with those people. We need to sit and have coffee. We need to give them voice. We need to really engage in part of the story, right?
Well, I don't know if they even want to talk. I mean, we
Good
could
luck
tell you,
getting
you
them
know,
go on record.
yeah.
That's
we
the
can
tricky
We
part.
could tell you that,
Well,
Peter
that's
McCormick.
the issue, right? That's we've heard that a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
they'll talk to you because they're too scared to talk to Richard Hart. Maybe if they have some kind of like, if they think they're going to get famous in some kind of documentary, maybe they'll talk to you and make themselves look like an ass that way. Who knows? Whatever they want.
I think
we have some leads, you know what I mean, or whatever. Just so you like, we do have some, and we think that once we can onboard a couple, that maybe that will help open additional doors, and there'll be a bit of an avalanche in that regard.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I hope somebody tells you about the story about Richard Hart getting sued for $500 in 2001 for breaking an obscure email spam law.
Richard Schuller, the spam king.
The scammer that literally had to pay a $500 ticket when the internet was first being created because he didn't realize that he broke a law. Okay. Yeah, real terrible guy.
Yeah, great. And we've had those conversations with Richard directly, like on camera, and we've asked him directly about those you know, that experience, and it's pretty wild, truly.
Yeah,
it's crazy how people
I heard.
Up.
Yeah,
it's just like the tiniest little thing in an era, 2001, where like there were no email spam didn't exist yet. So basically, he was kind of an entrepreneur on the frontier, kind of inventing internet spam. Him and 4 other people got the same ticket. It was in one state. So if anything, it's kind of like, oh, cool. He was just inventing new stuff back then, like he is now. Except then it was email spam. So people didn't like that.
Alex Saunders would be a good one if you can find him.
Oh man, he's hiding right now. But this guy, Alex Saunders,
I'm pretty sure his lawyers would tell him not to go on record on a documentary. But it would be a good story.
This guy was exposed by Richard Hart for actually being a degenerate gambler and taking a lot of his followers and his paid group, all of their money that they would pool together for trading. He would take that money and say, "Oh, I'm going to make this awesome trade. I've got it, this exclusive deal that I can, 4x your money on." He'd go secretly gamble it away on leveraged options on like FTX or Bybit or whatever, and he would just lose it all and try to get money from the next guy. And it was fucked up. He got exposed, and now his lawyers kind of took him off of YouTube. He's not allowed to even talk about it.
Well, that's another great thing that just shows you what amazing character Richard is, because
he had Australia. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, was it Australia or
Tasmania?
Tasmania. There you go.
Yeah. What he called himself.
But that goes to show you the integrity of Richard too, because like this had been going on behind the scenes forever, and like he was trying to I think BitBoy loaned him money, a bunch of other influencers that loaned him money, and this shows you what goes on behind the scenes. All this stuff happens, but they play these politics behind the scenes that no one sees. And so no one wants to call each other out because, again, it's going on the channel, growing your audience, using your audience to essentially bring in your revenue streams. And Richard went on stream with them, and they like realized this guy had messaged him. It's like, wait, dude, like, didn't you ask me for like 20 Bitcoin and like this loan and all this? And he's like, I've never showed private messages before, but I'm going to do it this one time because he's like, this guy is out here extorting people for money. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. If you've had experience like this, post it below, and then you just start seeing people come out of the woodworks, just millions and millions of dollars this guy is just taking people for. And it was like a Me Too moment on crypto, where it's just like all of a sudden everyone it took someone like Richard, it took that personality, it took a leader to come out and just call the guy out for what he was, and then everyone came out of the woodworks and followed suit. And it was pretty cool to watch, and that guy's career was completely ended, and rightfully so.
Well, Sandy brings up a good point that he did also offer, like the inside trading thing, like, oh, I've got this token and you can dump it on the followers.
Yeah, so the guy was trash.
A lot of people do that. A lot of people in crypto make their money from shilling you referral links to margin trade with 100x leverage, which is how people lose all the time. Or they're paid insider trading groups where they're just guessing at tea leaves. They might not even take the trades that they tell you to trade, but even if they do tell you to take a trade that they make and they lose, you're still paying them the subscription, so they can lose that trade but still make your money from that.
The project gives the influencer an allocation of tokens, 1%, 2%, 5%. The user goes they go out there, the influencer goes out there, shills it to their audience, and then minutes later, after they start buying the coin, you see it pump, and then they just start dumping on their heads. HEXologist actually did a very good video, tweet posts back in the day of like Elliott Trades and some of these other guys, and he went through the history of all these random obscure coins that are just dead now that they shilled, and he would show the time and date when they shilled it. You would see the price run up, and then magically every time just death, dump, and it was just page after page after
Grant,
page, and it just really brought everything to light. It was just like, my goodness.
We got to get you HEXologist zip file of basically dirt on Twitter because he's got like
folders.
a bunch of it's well researched and
it is very well done.
Of the price chart, a screenshot of the YouTube video, and an arrow on the price chart saying YouTube video happened here. And you always see that's like at the very top, and then the day after the YouTube video, straight down. You could just have those like panning across the screen or something. Like that'd be fun.
What do you fellas think about Floki Inu right now?
Same shit, different day, man.
but it's not just like up and coming YouTubers right now. Like Meet Kevin is
Graham Stephan.
Graham Stephan is pushing it. I mean, that's so. What's that mean for the environment? Like, what's that say? What's that say
Top
for
signal.
all of crypto, and specifically like Hex? Like, what do you do in that world? How do you create any amount of clarity or confidence in what you're doing?
It's just trying to get that outbound message and that education out there. And unfortunately, we don't reach enough ears. It's just, we don't reach the masses like the Graham Stephans and the Meet Kevins do. And it's sad because they are such leaders in the YouTube space and the traditional finance space. And then when they go back to this Floki, Shiba Inu, I don't think they're paid off by these coins or anything like that. I think it's just the point. Their channels are so large and that's their primary business now. Like they're looking at the new hot trends. So like they know they will get the views, the clicks, the trending, everything just for that. And they're so disconnected now at this point. I don't think they realize the damage. Like I think it's weird too, because I know Graham Stephan, especially because I watched most of his videos, is very protective of his YouTube and what he promotes. So like that one really caught me off guard when he did.
Well, they're
Floki
experts at YouTube, all right? They're not experts in crypto.
No, that's why they need to be careful.
They think Shiba is the hot new thing. They really just don't know. Just like Gary Vaynerchuk thinks NFTs are the hot new thing. They don't realize that the money laundering and people losing their life savings on a picture of a wolf. But like, what was I going to say earlier? Just regarding all these YouTubers and stuff, I think Hex is going to continue to shine based on its own merit, right? Like it's going to market itself kind of the way Tesla does. You don't see any ads out for Tesla. It's just that they just have better cars. So you don't see you're going to see ads out for Hex because all the Hexkins have money now. So you're going to start seeing some really cool advertising, but it doesn't really need to. Eventually people will migrate to the better product. I think what we're going through right now is just a meme coin fad phase. Maybe it lasts another month. Maybe it lasts another 6 months. But I think we're kind of to me, that's a top signal when you see Graham Stephan promoting Floki. Like, it means that the overall market is probably going to crash pretty soon.
It's funny that you say that because in 2017, when you mentioned that, like being a top signal, I remember him specifically promoting like Dragon Chain. And it was right at like the top, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyways, that is interesting.
Run by Disney.
You see Paris Hilton
claim of the fame
coming out. Yeah.
But that's the thing, the top signal. And when these big outside influencers outside of the actual crypto space and they bring tons of people in and they essentially guide them to the path of the most degen, just like potentially rug pull, going to zero, just these awful projects in the space, like they get destroyed. Because it's gotten to the point now where the currency, our traditional fiat, is printed into oblivion. Inflation's going through the roof. The governments continue to tax you more and more. Your spending power has gone away. Like the new modern day slavery is just being a wage slave. You spend 9 to 5 overtime. You don't spend time with your family anymore. You're shackled to this system that we have, this monetary system. You can't escape the rat race anymore. I used to do real estate, other investing beforehand, and I did pretty well, but I was not escaping the rat race anytime soon. Maybe a little bit earlier than 65, 70, but I wasn't going to go enjoy it in my 30s, 40s, or any stretch of imagination like that. You just can't do it any days. Like you need something like a HEX that gives you thousands of X just to break the chains of the rat race, which is insane. You're not going to get that in stocks anymore. Like our fiat is just getting printed to shit, and then the government has the audacity to tax it back. You just can't get out anymore. So people are hungry and they're looking for this stuff in crypto. And so when you have someone like a Graham or a Meet Kevin introducing this to people, it sucks because they come in there, they put what little life savings they have into it, they get completely wrecked, And like Coffee said, that's a top signal. And this is why crypto in the past has gone through these very long cycles of bear and bull, because people come in, they get completely destroyed, and then they're done. They're gone from the space for a very long period of time, never to return, or they come back years later after the wounds heal. And it's a very, very, very precarious space for newcomers. And when they're guided in by people that aren't familiar with the space, like a Graham or a Meet Kevin, like it presents issues when they're like, hey, you should invest in Floki. Like, fuck off. That shit pisses me off. You shouldn't be talking on stuff like that you don't know what you're talking about. What's up, Wave?
Man. Good. How you guys doing?
So
good. Go ahead, Grant. Sorry.
Well, so a serious question around that then, and this is from somebody who's an outsider. Do you think that Nomiks reposition of market cap in the last 24 hours is going to do more long-term damage to HEX, or the introduction of people being brought into the crypto space because Meet Kevin and Graham are out shilling these other altcoins that are going to wreck people? Like, you know what I mean? Because I think what's interesting is like the community, HEX, the community is like, oh, there's engagement here, but I haven't heard anybody yet like screaming at Meet Kevin or Graham at the moment.
Because they haven't
so
lost
I don't
money
know.
yet.
It's a curiosity.
You'll hear
Right?
it. I think, but that the YouTube shillers,
But
or
I meant
whatever
from the HEX
promoter.
community going like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like this misinformation is going to do so much damage, bleed over to HEX and what's happening there in general. And I don't know. It's a curiosity. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no news is bad news in the long run, right? Exposure to crypto in general is probably a good thing for people. So even this Nomiks news, right? Like it might end up being positive because we're yelling and screaming about it all over Twitter. It might actually turn some heads. It might turn some eyes. There's your glass half full type of thing. If you really want to try this to put a spin on the Floki shit where it's half full, maybe more people download MetaMask and maybe more people are able to get HEX that way. But yeah, I think just more eyeballs is all we need for the price to go up. It's all about outreach. I say that over and over, but that's the only thing that matters. What up, Patrick?
Man, can you hear my dog?
Good.
She's going nuts in the background.
Yeah,
so if you're okay,
good.
I'm going to step aside to get my dog.
Yeah,
out.
all good, man.
All right.
Yeah,
all
dude.
good.
Then.
All right.
What's up, Wave? What's good?
Well.
Good. Yeah. Just didn't want to interject there, but good, interesting conversation.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah.
We're here to talk about Floki.
It's a Floki channel now.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. You thought we were here for HEX? We're actually here for Floki.
Yeah. I've noticed myself, more of my just peers every day seem to be talking more on crypto. I don't think we're quite at the like any blow off top phase yet, just because Bitcoin is just starting to push to new all-time highs. Like if you actually scale the current cycle back to 2013, because the whole double top scenario is in play.
You should get some charts pulled up here for Grant while you talk, Wave.
Yeah, that double bubble chart would be cool.
It'd be kind of cool to walk him, since he's a little bit newer to crypto, it'd be cool to kind of walk him through history, and then we can kind of show him what we expect in the future with HEX, PulseChain, Bitcoin's history, all that kind of stuff via the chart. I think that'd be a cool way to show him. It's Grant's dog early in staking.
I'm staking all over the yard.
Oh man, remember when Dev Kyle's dog took a deuce in the background?
Oh my god, dude, that was hilarious.
Oh my god, I forgot about that until just now.
And the sad part, like Kyle knew like what his dog wanted, and then everyone started laughing. He's like, he's pooping on the floor right now, isn't he? They're like, yep.
That was hilarious.
I almost forgot. That was early days, dude. That was like a long time ago.
It was like, I think it was like midway through.
It wasn't too far away.
Feels like
yeah. It starts all running together. 1 month in crypto is like a year at this rate.
Yeah,
dude, that's so true.
Oh yeah, overlay that shit, baby. I love it when you do that.
Grant's still listening. He's like, what the heck?
Oh yeah, you gonna overlay that bad boy? Nice.
So I gotta pull the whole.
Where's that from?
Here.
Oh, that's from 2013.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
This is from 20. This is the entire 2013 cycle. So looks like this is still a valid.
What do you have right now?
Here.
Do you have Bitcoin up?
Yeah, this is the Bitcoin chart.
Okay. Oh, because it's on log, it's all fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all effed up. But I think I recall.
Ooh.
It's something like.
Well, there
You're
was.
close.
There it is. I mean, I can see what you.
Yeah, if you scale it, it basically puts it around March of 2022. Depending on how you scale that fractal. Fractals are sort of just like a quick way to sort of reason. They're not. It's very rare where you get something that tracks a fractal exactly. There is a lot of error in general if you're going to go off like a fractal per se, but I would say there's some recent data I know Ben Cohen posted not too long ago that sort of suggests the lengthening cycle theory is still pretty valid. I mean, right with where we're at now, crypto just gets really stupid during these stages of the bull cycle. We're sort of at that area where
Clearly.
if you're holding Bitcoin or ETH or whatever, it'd be pretty smart to start to take profits somewhere during whenever the next run up starts, just to start to de-risk the portfolio a little bit. But this is also kind of a very different cycle today. Like as far as all the the memes, as far as institutions, there is some validity to that. They are basically a much bigger backstop, at least on the price chart compared to previous market cycles. So I don't think we're going to get like an 80 to 90% drop personally, unless there's like a run up to like a $200,000 plus Bitcoin, which I don't think is going to happen realistically until maybe sometime like later 2022, because that's where it starts to get, at least in my mind, like that seems to start to get to like very silly prices rather quickly. But so far, it's really interesting because like even this cycle, Ethereum is sort of starting to lead over Bitcoin, at least on the USD chart. And one thing that's not really factored in yet is the inflation today for ETH this cycle is just very different today with EIP 1559. Basically all the fees that are taking place are just burning a lot of Ethereum, making its inflation very low. So it's just sort of negating some of the selling pressure, and I do think the merge later on in 2022 is going to be a pretty big pumpamental for ETH after that, because then at that point your inflation on Ethereum basically goes to zero plus whatever deflation is taking place through EIP 1559. I would say like at this point, like I will be very surprised if we have like a blow off top in like December or January. But if there is like a huge run up on price, do start to take profits on Bitcoin and ETH, and at least put away 10-15% off to the side. And if you start to see crazier prices in 2022, you could just slowly start to just take a little bit of profits on like your ETH stack or whatever. But I still think we have some time. Like I'm pretty optimistic for 2022 in general, and personally I'll be surprised if we get a market crash like off the 4-year cycle theory with the amount of money printing that's taken place, because I think if you do a ratio of like the money supply today, like if you do like an M2, which is today's money supply, versus or I'm sorry, I've actually flipped that. You have to do M1 over M2, and then if you multiply it by the price of Bitcoin, it basically reduces the price from like 65K down to it's probably somewhere, if I had to guess, somewhere between 30 to 50. Probably closer to the 30 range. So like there's just been a retarded amount of money printing that's taken place, at least over the last basically since the pandemic. Like the money printing is just out of control. So
Doesn't stop.
there's a certain percentage of crypto I just don't ever plan on selling indefinitely for all my holdings, like Bitcoin, ETH, HEX, because there's no point. It's like if you're going to end up trying to play speculative bubbles, a lot of people thought this last one was going to go to lower prices, and it never happened, and people tend to buy back higher in those kinds of situations. So I would say if your objective is to build a base of assets, then never selling it's honestly the best strategy. Like traders are not going to outpace the guy that just holds onto their coins over longer periods of time. So when you have things like the staking, obviously, like that, just basically it prevents you from making a poor decision. And I think even back to the whole discussion which was taking place on Nomiks, I'm a very objective guy. Like I look at numbers, I look at data. Like I'm not gonna side based on emotions, because I just strictly base like my portfolio decisions like off that. But if you're looking at like the entire space of cryptocurrency, and just when it comes to what exchanges do, I would say there's a lot of very valid merit, like in terms of what exchanges are trying to do. It basically creates very unhealthy habits on people in general, where they do things like leverage trading, or just they go in and out of positions on coins. So a lot of what at least Richard Hart has brought to light this cycle is very it's first off, like, it's a very sensitive topic for a lot of people psychologically, because it's sort of tapping into things like unhealthy behavior. But that's sort of what the world historically basically ends up making money on, is people's addiction. So that is basically that's kind of the reality when you look at things objectively. So that has obviously led to a lot of resistance from different very powerful groups within crypto. There's of course Binance, that makes a shit ton of money destroying people, and that's the case with centralized exchanges. And there's a fair share of like speculative, like stupid trading that happens on dexes too. But for a centralized exchange, like their entire business model is basically it's around having people become financially ruined. And that happened during like the May flash crash. There was Binance basically pulled the plug on their exchange with people with very leveraged up positions that got totally wiped out. And this is stuff that happens all the time in this space. So if you look at it from like a political perspective, it's the topics are very disruptive because of the truth behind it. So that's of course going to get a lot of resistance. And then with somebody like Binance and CZ, that's a very powerful, he has a lot of power. Like he has, obviously, like there's a ton of trading volume that goes through his exchange. There's basically his chain BSC that a lot of people in the market speculate on when ETH gas fees get really high. So this is just basically part of the political or the politics that you start to run into, because the unhealthy behavior for certain individuals is very profitable for somebody like CZ or anybody that's running like a centralized exchange. So stopping people from doing unhealthy things ends up hurting somebody else's revenue, and then that's why you start to get a lot of the politics that start to play out. But the reality is, like, at the end of the day, like anything that takes place on exchanges is very unhealthy, and the data speaks for itself. Like traders always lose. They're always losers in market cycles. They always lose their coins. They always fall behind. They have less. Even just like holding Bitcoin or ETH or whatever, they end up with less coins over time. So, that's
why staking is so important, right? Like you lightly touched on it before, but there hasn't been anything like HEX to date where you literally take your money and you can lock it up to 15 years plus, Quattro Cinco stake, and you can't physically take it out without accruing a penalty. If you do a 15-year stake, like you're going to wipe your entire stake out if you try to emergency and stake that earlier. Where else, in traditional finance or crypto, have you seen the ability to stake something for 15 years and not touch it? And not only does that just add to the game theory, and we have our residential game theory person here, Crypto Kool-Aid, but the gift of HEX is it also enables you to realize those gains. Anyone who's willing to delay gratification and actually make a 15-year stake, which has never been done in the history of humankind, you actually get to realize those gains. If HEX takes that #1 spot from Bitcoin and we end up doing something like Bitcoin has done and do a 6 million X, you know how many people in Bitcoin actually realize that 6 million X return? Next to none. Next to none realize that, because they sold at the first 100X, the first 1000X. Shoot, maybe they were diamond-handed hexicans and they held out to the 10,000X, or maybe the first million X. But what human being held Bitcoin all the way through to a 6 million plus X? None of them did.
Unless they lost it in like a fire, unless
you
literally...
a bunch of drug dealers got rich because they used to deal on the Silk Road and they forgot they had Bitcoin in their wallets back when they were selling Molly, weed, you name it, on the Silk Road. They forgot they had those accounts. They go back and next thing you know, they're multimillionaires because they had some Bitcoin dust in their wallet back in the day.
Well, I wish I was a drug dealer sometimes, don't you? Hey, so let's let Crypto Kool-Aid talk about something. What are you here for?
Gentlemen,
what are you here for, Kool-Aid?
I know.
What do you want?
Great. It's great to see another person of the lens and pixel pusher side. But if you think about it, when you stake, you bank your assets, right? You actually level up and store your gains. And through that, you actually level up your character, right? If you go wander around and you have all this experience and you die, then you're dead. And that's what people that trade do. When you actually stake, you're betting on your future self, but you're actually banking your leveled up experience to actually deal with it later. And it's the beauty of the system. That's all math. And if you just put a little in, why would you not? And the question I always ask to like single parents, why wouldn't you want to put a $250 gamble that's very educated to give your kid a level up in 10 years? It's the most ludicrous thing if you think about the game theory of leveling up the future of yourself or your family or your future livelihood.
You mean your economic status in terms of leveling up your wealth
caste.
And
your
socials?
caste.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, your actual caste can get leveled up. And when you actually stake, you're banking your economic value to actually receive that reward later on in life.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You're also in the highest appreciating asset class known to mankind. So, I mean, why you have, it's more risky to sit on the sidelines and do nothing. I mean, that's how I've always looked at it. It's more risky.
But you're also dealing with fiat too. It's risky to not even play with fiat.
It's risky to be in fiat, in my opinion.
Yes, it is. But some people, they
that's the mindset. That's the mindset that I've switched over time. It's like, because you have it from your friends that aren't in the crypto space. They come to you. It's like, don't you find it risky to be so heavily invested in crypto? It's like, no, I find it the exact opposite, actually, because I found the right asset in the space that I know where it's going. I know it's going to be #1 for me. It's more risky for me to have more dollars than it is HEX right now. Like for me, I know that I have the next #1 cryptocurrency, like you said, and the fastest appreciating asset class. Why would I not want to have next to every freaking dollar I have, except for what I need to sustain myself, pay my bills every month? Why would I not want everything else invested in an asset class like this, and then an asset like HEX, which is the fastest appreciating asset that we've seen in mankind, that does stuff that we've never seen before? We're in this whole kind of social game theory experiment right now that's never existed before. Like, why would I not want to be invested in that opposed to anything else? Floki, Tesla stock, you name it. This is, to me, this is the #1 place to be.
Well, even if you look at like houses, right? What, 5 years to 2x the price on a house? And the only reason why houses are good is because you can live in them. They're tangible. But the thing is, the future of the internet is the intangible asset class that will be tangible in the future. right? We will live futurely in the internet and the future of augmented reality, virtual reality, everything that
we're
goes
rebuilding
forward.
the matrix right now, so we're going to need currency when we're back in the matrix again. So here you go.
The metaverse now.
Sorry, the metaverse.
Well,
that shit cracks me up.
It's funny that you mentioned real estate, Kool-Aid, because Patrick and I we're working in with an agent, and we're looking at some properties in the Caribbean, and she was telling us about, oh, everything's blowing up. Like you get a property now, like you're gonna 2x, it's gonna 2x in 5 years. And Wave 3 TV just goes, he's like, I like to deal in like 10. I like to do 10x's. Like if it doesn't do a 10x, I'm really not interested. And she just looked like dumbfounded. And I was like, I was driving, I was like wrecked laughing. So
oh my god. Well, the real question is even with real estate, it's like, what do Hexkins want to build from green energy, renewables, and the future of tech, science, and good hospitality, right? You know, most of the OG Hexicans are good people that want good people to thrive, right? And same thing with sci-fi and all the rest of that.
Most rich people aren't total douchebags and sociopaths. And so that's what you're banking on. And we have a bunch of newly rich people that are going to make the world a better place around us for our friends and family and loved ones. What are we going to do? Just, hoard it all, buy a fucking castle, and just laugh at all the poor people? Like, no, come on.
No.
Well, Richard talked about this early on in some of his videos. So I can't remember who the interview was, but I'll actually send you the video, Grant, because it's probably my favorite video that Richard did. But essentially the guy asked Richard, like, what's the meaning of life or something like that. And like Richard started with the analogy of like, well, like what is bread? Like, I mean, it depends, right? Like, are you choking on that bread? Does that bread taste amazing? Like, and he pretty much came to the conclusion, it's like, you can only have so much quality in this world, but then you can increase the quantity. So that's why he was such a big component of the Sense Foundation longevity research. And he essentially is like, how do you get the people to care about that stuff? Because right now there is no money in longevity research. There is nothing in Sense Foundation. He's like, you have to be able to get them to pivot to that goal, that end goal. So he's like, how do you go about doing that? It's like you meet all their other needs first. Like Coffee was just saying, you get them rich, you get them to go buy their nice cars. They get to go out and party, be with beautiful women, whatever needs they wanted that they couldn't obtain because of their financial class they were in. You meet all those needs, and then what? It just gets boring, right? You have to go find that purpose. You got to go find something that you wanted to do, and then you can pivot those people into what really matters: longevity, getting some of the richest, smartest people to live longer, helping out humankind overall. And that was the big thing. And he's doing that with HEX, with the cryptocurrency that he created. He's making a group of very intelligent, like-minded individuals, wealthy beyond their imagination. And then he's already started to lay the breadcrumbs to pivot them into what really matters: the longevity research, doing better for humankind by getting some of our smartest, brightest people to live longer and create stuff that's going to help mankind move forward in the future.
So, Motley, let me give you like a little bit of an anagram, right? Instead of no profit from the work of others, once you succeed at that, you profit and you help others. That's Richard's real message. It's not just no profit from the work of others. It's profit and then help others. That is the message of Sci-Fi. That is the message of the Hexicans. That is the message of the new wave of whales and good people within the system. Profit and help others. And then from there, they profit and help others.
Yeah. There's no relying on, daddy government to hold your hand. Go ahead.
Well, when we had our original discovery call with Richard, he didn't even talk about the cryptocurrency, not even a peep about it, right? Like that was not in any way what he was excited about wanting to share upon our first meeting. So we found that fascinating, and that's why we continued to want to have additional conversation because the story bleeds well beyond just the space of crypto. So
yeah, he's in it for the glory.
Beyond that's he's told us that on countless occasions, like just world. Absolutely unapologetically is in it for the glory. Yeah, no doubt about it. This setup, my new setup, which allows me to look right into the lens and engage with you and have the key light and do all of the crazy stuff or whatever, comes at the expense of my laptop battery, which is now saying that it's at 3%. So I
All
don't
good,
want
brother.
this thing to shut off on me in the middle of the conversation. But I did want to
Chill.
Where can we go to
is
learn
what I
about the
want to say.
documentary? One last time.
Well, so if you go to thehighestofstakes.com, that's where you can share your story. You can share the story of friends and family. You can share the story of the haters. You can like really give us insight into the story finding that we're doing. And then if you have a ticket to the event in London on December 2nd, which is the 2-year anniversary, right, of HEX, which there's a place that you can go and get a ticket if you don't have one, which is hex731gathering.com. But for the hundreds that already have their ticket, if you've not made a donation yet and you want to meet Richard in person, that leaderboard is just absolutely thirsty for very minimal donations that would immediately make you eligible to be in a room with him. I think that it's wild that right now, if you want to see and meet the man at the moment, that leaderboard, your name would get on it for something as little as 100 hex. That's crazy.
It's the
That's
ETH
crazy.
gas fees,
So anyway.
Grant. It's the ETH gas fees.
I know it is. I know it is. I'm learning enough to know that too. But
Yeah.
When's the deadline? November 15th?
November 15th.
You'll see some last minute donations. I guarantee you that.
And it's a select number of people that are even eligible for that one, right? So, but when he's gathering like that, he does want to meet and say hello to some people. So we wanted to create that opportunity, right?
Very cool.
Anyway, know that exists. And I welcome additional conversation, questions, ideas, thoughts. You can always communicate to us through the website. And then also there's THOS documentary on Twitter. THOS documentary on Twitter. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Grant.
You've unpacked some really cool thoughts over here. So I'll take them with me.
Awesome. See you later,
Talk to
Grant.
you later.
Grant.
Peace.
Peace.
See you, man.
See you in London.
Man, that guy's work's fantastic, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely tip of the top. And we've come so far in 18 months, right? Between like RG not having a camera to now that we got tippity top documentary people that I watch it and I get chills. And that's what I do for a living. And we've come so far that think about the future. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And I was messaging Motley about it earlier. The hero's journey is about a hero that gets knocked down and then they learn and they get back up and they get knocked down and they learn and get back up. And then through that process, they get stronger and stronger. And the Hex Dragon molts every time this happens. And it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And each time, I mean, I got to tell you, Motley, like you're going after Clay. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
I'm done now. I never mentioned them again.
I know.
Yeah.
But exactly. There is only one. But like the difference is he did us a favor because again, it's just math. We did this before. We were what, top 5? What, 6 months ago? 8 months ago? It's just math. It's only what on Coin Paprika a 2x to bring us back up there.
Yeah, I think so. Like
nothing.
In fact, maybe people will even look at it and say, "Oh, it's number 14. That means it's got room to grow." To
of
number
course,
one, right?
There's plebs out there like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they can only shave the top off so many times till they shave off their own face. That's where the term, spiting your own nose versus your own face comes in. They only have a few more times till they have to deal with it. And at that point, it's done. Because not only are Hexicans holding a coin and staking a coin, we're building businesses. We're building opportunities. We're building multiple different tiers of legs, of mechanics. People talk about game theory, but game theory is about mechanics. And we are building the mechanics to turn the key to allow those things. Between charting with waves, between LVC, between everything else. And it's only a matter of time till everything caves. And all the people that did all of this shenanigans, they have nowhere else to run. It's done. Like they put their cards on the table. They called their bluff. It's only time. And that's the whole thing. The time value of money.
Yeah, there's only so many different types of coins that you can ignore counting, and they've already chosen to ignore the OA. There's the staked coins, and then there's, I guess, all the rest of them. So, I mean, I wouldn't even say they have one or two more times. Like, that, where do you go from here? Either you admit you're wrong after this, or you just keep it forever. whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even technically have the OA coins correct right now because they made in Gunther's audit, you can only verify about like 40 to 50% of the coins via the blockchain are actually the OA, and the rest was assumptions made by Gunther that, you know, it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it is a duck. But they went ahead and removed those coins, but they can't actually verifiably be tied back to the actual origin address. So even then, they can go ahead and add those coins back on, but it doesn't matter, right? It's all irrelevant.
Are coins from the adoption amplifier that technically can't be proven, or
yeah, those are the one. Yeah, go ahead.
Wouldn't those link from the flush address? Oh no, never mind. Because you can make a brand new address come in with the ETH by. Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, but the thing is that just think what will happen after Pulse.
Doesn't matter.
But think what happens after HEX scale, right? There's so many more building tools that we all are doing, especially as wealthy, healthy-minded individuals that are caring and are building and are not greedy. That's the difference about Hexkins. We already have everything that we need. We already won. And that's the whole thing between tribalism and what Nerd Girl's talking about and all the rest of it. We already won. Eventually, all the people get washed out to sand. I mean, if you remember the old Bitcoin meme of the dude with the broom trying to brush back the ocean way back in the day, it's done.
Sounds like something you do in the Navy. Send you out there and sweep the rain or something.
That's right. But the thing is, it's already done. And the thing is, it's immutable code. You can't compete with it. Right? How do you kill that which has no life? Like you can't.
Yep. Yeah, people are getting so angry at a little 2,000 lines of code on a decentralized blockchain. Like, sorry, bro, it's going to be there with it or not, and it's going to be copied over.
Well, Motley had a good point where it is like a Richard Hart derangement syndrome versus the actual lines of code. I think that's what it seems to be.
Well, it's also the other side of, you can't do wash trading with it. I forget whose stream I was looking at, and it's like everyone's like, when exchange? I'm like, who's going to provide the liquidity for the exchange? We don't need an exchange. What we need is fiat on-ramps. People are confused about their terminology. Words are words for a reason. Once we get a fiat on-ramp into Pulse that allows them to do all the fun things from NFTs to HEX, we don't need an exchange. We just need a fiat on-ramp into the ecosystem that we're creating, and more importantly, creating with a better behalf on our community.
Yeah, it's just user experience and outreach. So on-ramp is part of user experience. PulseChain is part of user experience. Outreach is the promotion of these things. Outreach is HEX Grayscale, which is basically specific marketing to rich people. And I think that is where, if we can focus our time and energy, let's focus on the rich people first. They move the market. The rest of the retail comes along. Correct. Because they see a big green candle and they hop in after. I mean, we can focus our time and money on banner ads, but guys, I've been running Google ads, banner ads since like almost day one of HEX. It doesn't move the market. You basically just, you might be in front of more eyeballs, and again, that's not bad at all, but high net worth individuals getting into HEX through an exchange traded fund that's backed by the price of HEX, which only ever buys HEX and literally never sells. That's what's going to pump the price.
Sounds pretty bullish.
It's a trifecta, honestly. Remember when Axis talked about the two suns, right? And that's just the two hexes. Once you have the HEX scale in between, it takes the market into the financial market on their own turf, and it has more yield, opportunity, economic mass, and weight. Because what is the fiat system based on? Debt. So they already lose. Why is 2% interest needed for insurance markets? To outpace inflation. Oh, well, I like my 39%. Your 2% is cute.
Yeah. I mean, you're in their game, playing on their terms with vehicles that they're familiar using. I mean, you need to speak the language depending on like what part of town you're in. You need to speak the dialect of whatever, or the language of whatever country you go to. If you want to get Wall Street money, you got to make stuff that they understand. And I think, that's going to be awesome, especially because I have the utmost confidence that will be done. and sooner rather than later. And I can't say anything else, but
well, that's the whole
shot
thing.
on
It's
site.
Like, all of us know it's happening,
Breadcrumbs.
and that's the beauty of it all. Is it's all time. They've all lost, and it's just a matter of time till this ecosystem spills in, and they're already fighting a losing battle between what Kinetics is doing, taking the fight to K Street, between so many different facets are happening right now, and if people don't understand it, they're winning the losing battle, and it's a shame just because they're not educated. And what's even more a shame is we put all the content out there, and especially you guys. I've been sucked into my game dev world, and I haven't been around a lot, but all the content is out there. You just have to listen.
Right.
Plenty of it. Yeah.
You can be really, really smart too, and then not have a high degree of openness. And I've seen that a lot. Intelligence does not necessarily mean you're gonna like Hex. There's a lot of really smart people out there that are too smart for their own good in a way, and they're not open-minded enough to grasp it. Just like there's a lot of people that maybe are too open-minded, too trusting, but not intelligent enough to realize that Floki is not the future.
Well, that's the difference between intelligence and wisdom, though. If you look at like game character stats, intelligence, wisdom are two different statistics, two different stats that you have to do. You have book learning and you have street smarts. Wisdom is using the intelligence to apply a lever to what you see, a vessel, a lens. And that's the whole thing is Hexicans are not only intelligent through our community, because everyone has a different cut of cloth. We are wise. We are legion. We are one. And that's the most important thing about the Hexican community is we all have something to offer. We all have a voice. And ideally, we all listen.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Let's see. The constant objection I hear when explaining Hex and its CD component is people think it's tied to how banks work. Yeah, there's different strokes for different folks, people. PulseChain, this is one thing that
there is.
I should point out. The same narrative that works for one person might not work for everybody. So the CD narrative is a great catch-all for generic people on the street that have heard of a CD. But again,
most people haven't even heard of a CD anymore. The newer, younger generations, most of them don't even know what a certificate of deposit is because they haven't been relevant for a long period of time. The interest rates are so hot garbage. You're lucky if you get 1%, 2%. Like 2% is almost unheard of now. Like it's crazy. So
it's
like
also the mimic
they become irrelevant.
Compound interest, right? So like, what is it? Buffett says you either are a slave to compound interest or you make it. You either pay it or you make it. And we haven't had as a younger generation, the opportunity to even invest in vehicles that have that, right? Because the wealth has been tied up. And that's why we had the .com bubble. That's why we had the housing bubble. That's why we had subprime loans.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to invest early on in Coke and Pepsi and all these things. Like I didn't get that opportunity. That wasn't my thing.
Is our Coke.
Yeah, and I forgot who put this this Twitter thread out there, but it was very accurate. It's along those lines. It's like that opportunity wasn't for my generation. I wasn't exposed to that. I didn't have that opportunity that Warren Buffett did. It's just it is what it is. So like I'm out there seeking my own fortune, my own path, and it happens to be this new asset class, crypto. And this is where you start to see that transference of wealth, that new essentially pathway that we're heading towards. Like fiat is slowly starting to crumble, and this is where we're starting to lean towards. You see younger generations come up and they have no interest investing in stock for piddly returns anymore. This is why they go into Shiba Inu and Floki and all this other stuff. It's their first step into the space, and they see these life-changing gains in a matter of short periods of time that they just can't get anywhere else. So it's addicting. And yes, this is why they're going here instead of going into the old traditional finance system that the boomer people have pretty much, have just turned into just complete shit. Like it's not going to work for the long term. It's going to implode. It's going to be a nasty battle back and forth for power. Like that power is not going to be given up easily. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting over the next decade or so for sure.
Yeah, but just remember the stock system also didn't have virality, community, and the internet because that's an archaic system that didn't.
Let's go Wall Street bets.
well, the thing is, it's very interesting to look at the culture of what the community can do together, right? And that's one possibility. But they're using that in the wrong term. Just like NFTs, I personally feel as a game developer, they're making molehills with a rocket ship. We speak on that for days, but the difference is that we can see the transition in the future, right? Up and to the right is about looking at enabling yourself, right? The internet was originally just emails, and people didn't realize why they wanted to use it against their fax machine. Now look at everything on a smartphone.
Yeah, I mean, and this is for the younger people, right? Like crypto will be inherently understood by this generation, whereas people in the previous, maybe Gen X, they had their Apples, Googles, Facebook opportunities, and people in the boomers, maybe they got some different opportunities, like the Cokes and Pepsis and things like that. Going back to what PulseChain said about the CD component and people not getting that, I could see where boomers or people that actually do understand what a CD is in the first place.
I remember those. RG3.
Yeah.
Right. I don't understand how people
associate like a centralized entity, right? Because they automatically want to say, oh, well, in the CD, I give it to a bank. So who am I giving my money to here? And that's what, like, even my parents have such a hard time with. Well, who's controlling this all? Like, who's paying the interest?
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't.
You're
even
in control of your own
money doesn't
finances.
even go to the bank, right? They're using it
Who's
as
the CEO of
a
HEX. Like it just.
Well, that would be freaking El Hexidente. Duh.
Oh, right,
Follow him on
right.
TikTok. Come on now.
But I wonder if people like thought about like staking. It's the same thing as like a stock split. If you really look at like the game mechanics on how you're going to hold this thing, and then it splits, and now you get double, and then it goes back up, and then it splits again. We've seen this before in traditional markets. It just wasn't mathematically implemented. It was also implemented by greedy rich people that do stock buybacks. And that's the danger of inherently the system when you give greedy people the keys to the castle. And that's why like HEX is not just immutable, but theoretically it's uncorruptible because the code is just the code.
It's just numbers.
It's just the people. Yeah, it's the people that make the community, and that's why, like again, the people in the HEX community are the most inspiring part of it all. Right? I love Richard to death, but watching what Richard has inspired everyone else to do is even more inspiring when you think about it.
Yeah, we got I love the names in the chat. Pulstachio says he's very blessed to be in such a great project. PulseChain. Human hex trafficker. I hate saying that one out loud. You're gonna get me kicked off of YouTube for that. But yeah, there's a bunch of people in chat. HEX exposes the Fed. Why can't they print money, and why can they print money and we can't? Well, yeah, that's what was in the Richard Hart documentary, right? Our magic internet money is better than your made up, basically internet money at this point too. The US dollar is just magic made up internet money.
Some bank ledgers.
Yeah, but they can control the inflation rate in HEX, and they can pull all kinds of levers. They can go to war for money. In HEX, you really just have a set daily payout that adds up to an inflation rate of 3.69%. Richard can't go in there and tweak that number, guys.
Done.
All we have left to do is use our newfound wealth to build the infrastructure and the ecosystem to basically make HEX as easy to use and onboard the entire world. Canadian $20. Thank you, Sir Edwards Trichrome. Thanks, man. Appreciate the tip. Thanks for watching. I can't see the sticker on here. Is it? I hope it's cool.
It looked like a little knight or something like that.
Nice.
Says thanks
How
for
fitting.
being you.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, fucking hell of a dip right now, but I think you think we bottomed out? What's everyone's thoughts?
The dip is totally fine, man. It was only like 2 months ago, 3 months ago we were here.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing because if you were here at Big Payday, shit. I mean, Exo catching that falling knife at the bottom, like he's gifted for like catching those falling knives at the bottom. But shit, can't believe how far we've come, and if we look at the rationing in the system, how far we're going to go.
Yeah, it's so much easier to handle these dips. Every single one we get just gets easier and easier. So I'm just watching, sitting back, and I really do feel better promoting HEX during a downturn because I know people are getting a good deal. Like I feel like I don't talk a lot, during the tops because it's like, oh, am I really going to say, oh, buy this after it's already just done a 10x? Like maybe wait for a little pullback. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe, or just look at the long-term picture of where we're going.
Or yeah,
I mean,
just fucking
I'm
buy
in the
it
mindset
and
that you should always buy. But whenever you have the money, you should always buy. You will be happier in a year. And it's the same game theory aspect of banking your experience, and then at the next level, you look back where you came from and you just laugh because it's just math.
Well, a lot of the newcomers now too, they see the OGs or people that have been in Hex for a long time, and for them, it's all everything's new, and so they just see us like, wow, they're wealthy, like they're so fortunate. Like it wasn't overnight. Like we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary.
2 years, man.
And there was a lot of shit and FUD, and a lot of people that didn't make it to this point. There was a lot of people that were weeded out, and the people that learned the system and used it properly, like it further strengthened their hands. It turned them into diamond hands, because even if maybe you wouldn't have held if you had just liquid coins and the stake wasn't a feature, but again, like this coin is designed in every way which possible for you to succeed. It gives you the best chance to succeed and become rich beyond your wildest imagination. It's the same thing for someone who gets in today. They're going to go through that same journey. They're going to have to put in their time and delay gratification, just like everyone that did from day one. Yeah, it's amazing, incredibly fortunate to be here, but you have to put in the time. It's just how the system works. And that's what people get it twisted. It's not a get quick rich game. It's delayed gratification.
Get rich overnight, and we still have a long way to go. We're still staked for till 15 years, so we're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep doing that. But I think people just they get it wrong. They're playing a days and weeks game, not a months and years game. So
I remember it wasn't that long ago that like you called me Coffee. Like it really wasn't that long ago. You're like, bro, can you believe how much money we have? Like I was just like, no, I can't. I can't. It's just stuff that you wouldn't think that you would have ever been in that kind of position. But it's just rewarded for doing the work that you needed to do. You had to stake, you had to continue to weed through all the FUD, just like the shit with Nomiks and whatever. Like this shit's a joke compared to what we've gone through.
It's a blessing, honestly. The statistics on Staker app. You can see how many millionaires HEX has created. And like Molly said, not everybody made it along the way. So a lot of people funded themselves out, or they didn't have the long-term mindset. I'm telling you guys, you need to have the long-term mindset. And if you do, I mean, it could just be 2 years or 3 years that you get rich from now. Wouldn't you rather take a chance to get rich in 3 years, 2.5 years, than 30 years working for the man? Like, no, you
break those chains.
But so what I say is on Staker, there are verifiably 3,000, or maybe more, just over 3,000 millionaires that have been created by HEX, and thousands more with $100,000, etc., like $100,000 to $900,000. So we've created 3,000 millionaires and like 5,000 more, squids and crabs that have hundreds of thousands. So just join the ranks, be one of those people, and it's going to only get bigger and bigger. Like, name me one other crypto that has made that many verifiable millionaires.
Not only verifiable millionaires, people on stream that talk about it, that are building bridges, that are actually building assets and equity and things to evolve around it. But even myself, I used to chase all the yield in 2017 looking for residual income. And then when I found HEX, it was the community actually that brought me in, right? It was when Steph released Staker, Steph and Firebrand, I was like, oh shit, it's really, really real. I moved in my 401k. But the thing is that even then, I knew 2 years. I'm not going to touch this shit for 2 years, because it's the same thing of buying Bitcoin at $3 and selling at 30. You need to at least ladder yourself out further than 2 years. But at 2 years, what your 401k is 30 or 40 years away. Why won't you take a nice scratch off ticket and say, in 2 years, I will worry about this then? And here's the funny thing. Everyone talking about HEX gas prices. You're going to get a clone. So theoretically, you can sell your HEX or PHEX and get that gas cost out, route it back over through the bridge, and pay for your HEX. It's a money printer. Yes, maybe more expensive right now, but that won't be for the long run. Look at your target avenues of funds. And we have Mr. DCC here.
Yes. Welcome.
He's not DCC. That's Litecoin Moses. He just got his name wrong. That's all.
Oh, he loves that Litecoin.
He'll show up eventually. He's here in spirit.
You mean Litecoin Moses?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said Litecoin Moses.
It's better late than doesn't show up like me.
I am here, my children. Stop weeping.
Yes. Daddy's home.
What's going on, brothers?
What's up? What's up?
I like the haircut. It looks good.
Oh, thanks, man. I've been
Nice
going through a
fade,
time
nice
machine,
fade.
man. I close my eyes and then I just do not wake up.
What?
That's not good.
That doesn't sound good.
Sounds like death, actually.
I mean, like, to be honest, I was sleeping during the sacrifice phase, and every time I like woke back up, I was like, it was like 2 pennies. And I'm like, I'm gonna go back to bed. Maybe it's gonna happen again, and it did. It was glorious. I sort of kept wanting to go to bed.
Yeah. Some of those big pumps, you wake up and it's like Christmas, man.
Yeah, but it's so in game theory, there's a particular type of ideal, which is accordion game theory. And that's where everything springs and compresses on top of each other. And the more it pulls tension, the more it strings back up. Yep. And that's what our ecosystem is doing. It's not just building a token, it's building an infrastructure of people building tokens, building ideals. I mean, like with Miguel actually like teaching other people of all the different like aspects of crypto. And that's where the tribalism doesn't have to come in. Hex has the best yield, period. But things have different places and turns. You don't drive a car on the water. You don't ride a boat on a fucking air. Things have places.
You don't.
Things. I mean, I'll try. Trust me. But the thing is that there's so much to the future of what everything is building. And that's the true Hexagon future front. Is what is built, what is taught, and what is learned amongst the community. Who's got a piano?
I don't know.
I don't know. It looks like some fucking evil person's theme song's about to play and shit. Like, oh, fuck. And oh my god. No, I totally agree, Kool-Aid. And nice to see you again, man. I like that shirt.
Thanks, sir.
I appreciate the purples, the purples, and the pinks, man.
I mean, like, that's my skin tone thing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we should all come to the stream one day with burgundy red one day. Like all of us, like. Shh.
Yeah, I love a good burgundy.
Hell yeah,
Yes. Man. I don't know if I own any burgundy, as a matter of fact.
Oh man, just cut yourself on your chest and just bleed over a shirt, and we're good, bro.
Yeah, all right.
Bro,
wow,
you okay?
Is that easy?
I just close my eyes and I just don't wake back up and just cut yourself and bleed on your shirt. Like,
well, if I realized that was that easy to make a burgundy shirt, I would have done it by now.
Right. Ching ching, jackpot, bitch.
Ever heard of this blood tie-dye? Like what?
I just love how your wall is so white you could actually composite out. You don't even need a green screen. It's just like
Then he'd be like a floating head, though, almost with that.
I know, right? Yeah.
So,
well, you
kind of a bitch, isn't it?
Bro, you missed everything.
I know.
DC is like that guy that comes in, like, so Nomiks. It's like, we talked about this for like an hour with grants and.
The thing is that like after we build so many more things, remember Clay just has an aggregator site. He's not building other things. And like, I know for me, I want to focus on green energy, renewables, all sorts of awesome things to help people. He's just an aggregator. Eventually, he will realize he made the wrong decision. And no offense, no olive branch here. I am the biggest lover in life, but I do not take hypocrisy ever.
Yep.
You stand by your word. You do what you say. And that's what your site was based on. I'm with Motley. Coin for Africa, number 3. And the difference is
spike, baby. Revenge.
Do not poke the dragon. This is not even a bear, right? And if you think your funds are being impacted by marketing, no. It's going to be very painful for you in the future, and that's not our problem because we are good people with an honest heart doing a good job. He fell to the CEO aspect of needing money. Well, we have the yield. The difference is our yield goes up, irregardless of your opinion. So eventually,
That's not a real word, by the way.
What? Irregardless.
Irregardless.
I will take the and I'll put the regardless.
I used to use that all the time, and I was like, really, it's not a word? Like, damn it! It took me a long time to remove that one. Yeah, irregardless. Like,
good to know.
Regardless, is that the pirate term then?
I still think you're smart.
Regardless.
Yeah. We know who got an A in AP Lit. Like, all right.
Yeah. Well, dude, Crypto Kool-Aid brings up a good point, and someone had actually asked in the comment section to Motley, like, what would Nomiks need to do to, make themselves better from this? And it's like, you already showed your true colors, and I agree.
Nope. But just like CoinMarketCap, right? It's like, it's never moved. How funny is that? How do you kill that which has no life? Irregardless, yes. See, it's a word. It's right there.
What's kind of gross to me in that article was like Clay mentioned in there. It's just like, hey guys, well, like we're never gonna gatekeep you on page 201 or not list you at all like CoinGecko. So like you should still like as what he did was like better than what I was like. Honestly, I'd rather go use CMC now and CoinGecko and support them over what you did, because to me, what he did, just going under the guise of being a friend, backstab, Judas, knife in the back, that is 1,000 times worse than what CMC right off the bat. Just like, hey, we don't like you guys. Page 3 with the other shit we don't like. Cool, CoinGecko. Yeah, we're just not even gonna list you. Cool, I can take that shit all day. But when you sit there and you give up your integrity, when I thought I had a comrade that was coming up with me through the ranks, and then I find one day that there was a knife in my back, yeah, you can go fuck yourself. You are worse in my book than they ever were.
Here's the thing, Motley. He has a name, and his name is Clay. And what is it? What was the fucking?
I am tired of people giving Clay bad names, because if you guys don't know, that is my name. In middle school, I still have a complex from Clay Aiken. He ruined all the Clays back then, and now Clay Collins is ruining it for the Hex community. Like, tired of all these Clays sucking.
We need to get a moniker for
yeah, right.
Because the difference is he showed his true opinion, and he has a name, and we can track him. That's the true difference. Is he actually homogenized his identity of his company through himself on his backstabbery, because he fell victim to needing ad money. Oh, I wonder what happens when Legion VC has a ton of shit going on. I wonder what happens when all the other Hexagons are building on
ad
top
dollars aren't going their way.
Here's the thing. Go the other way, sir.
Yeah.
We have the money to anti-advertise.
Yeah.
Right. It goes the other way. Do
Indeed.
not poke the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I may be tired on this, but this might be the correct way. We're the Jews out of Egypt. All the time, bro. Every single time the fucking Hex community goes anywhere, like, nah, not welcome. All right,
get lost.
Yeah, right. So do we name the one that should not be named Judas, or like what do we actually call it?
Well, yeah, we said that earlier, I think.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know what cracked me up? There's this tweet. Obviously, you guys may have already talked about this already, but like, there's this tweet. I don't know. I'm living in the past and the future and the present. So
you're doing something.
You're on another plane of reality, bro. He's in the DMT world.
Yeah. How much drugs have you taken today, sir?
It depends on how many DMTs.
All right, continue. What do you got?
No. Anyway, I saw him. This is on a random Hexagon post that he's like, wow, someone sold like 5 million Hex or something like that, which is like $900,000. And then Clay posted, actually Clay, not this Clay, the other Clay, Judas Clay. This is
Judas
Clay.
GC.
Judas Clay was like, I wish I had that much Hex. I was like, how the fuck don't you have that much Hex? You should have already. I was
Clay has none unless he
he came late.
Unless he bought more. Like he said it in the voice chat back in the day, like he bought like $1,000 worth of Hex, and it wasn't like super, it maybe like a cent or whatever, which he still got to see the run up of like a 50x, but it was just to play around with it, learn the dynamics again, guys. Like Clay knew about all this shit and how Hex works, so don't get it twisted.
Look at
all he bought was 1,000, unless he ended up buying more after the fact, which he could have. But who cares? Who gives a shit what's in someone else's wallet. Like, I don't care if he bought, sold, whatever.
Exactly.
He said he sacrificed for PulseChain. I'm sure he probably put more money into that as well. So whatever.
So this is the whole thing. It's like I was messaging you earlier, Motley. It's like eventually we're going to be the Hexkin inside level instead of like Intel inside. We are building things beyond the scope of our token, which eclipses not only the token but also redefines our community variables, from liquid loans to all this other awesome stuff that's going on. It's just the beginning. We are at a very, very naive version of augmented reality, virtual reality, crypto tokens, digital infrastructure that will be built around that. And Judas Clay showed his ass. But the difference is Hexicans have not. They are still giving, building, and creating with the same ecosystem that is beyond what we did. And it's just going to ramp further and further and further up between Moore's Law and Metcalfe's Law.
I'm sorry, Kool-Aid. I just gotta ask Wave 3 TV real quick. What pizza is he eating?
It's a shrimp. It's a lobster one.
No. It's a certain
like
place.
such a
I'm sure.
pretentious fucking prick.
Yeah,
That's like
because
such a rich bastard.
no, because I know it's about to take place here. It's gonna be the debate of what pizza is better, and so I'm trying to instigate right now. What pizza place are you eating from?
This pizza's way better. So
way better than what?
San Diego.
It looks like, what is it? What is it? It looks like a vegetarian, is it? Or what is it? It looks vegetarian.
Wait till he eats lobsters.
Pull up your pizza place on stream.
Here we go. For people that didn't get experience
I can't even
last
eat pizza
time
anymore, which is sad. I'm just mad right now. I'm like,
if you guys didn't know, Wave 3 TV and Dollar Costs have had pizza debates numerous of times.
Oh,
I wish you could have tried that place out in Puerto Rico, man. That place is pretty good.
Oh my god,
What place?
so good.
I don't even know the name of it, but yeah, we went there twice.
Yeah, it ended up being right next to our Airbnb. We went there 3 times.
Was it 3?
Wendy's and I did. You went with us twice.
Where'd you stay again? Not like the west side, right? Like the west coast.
Old San Juan.
We stayed in Old San Juan, and then and then Patrick and I went out to, and then Wendy's went out to Raccoon.
Nice, yeah, for the Airbnb, right, or something like that.
Yeah,
I was in Condado, but just trying to like. There's so much to it. I also went to Vieques one day.
Puerto Rico is very different depending on what part of the island you go to.
Vieques is like a tropical, like there's almost nothing there. There's like one gas station on the whole island, and it's just like really crazy wildlife, like crazy look. Like there's wild horses just walking around.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, man. The beaches are like clear. You can see straight to the bottom. Like it's awesome.
Is it the regular kind of horses or more of the shrunken horses? Like, you know how
They're like the ones from Spain, yeah, like the shrunken. Like they're a little shorter,
horses,
but
right?
but they're fast too. But like they're a little smaller.
They're like little horses, but they're real fast. They go real fast. The little legs move real quick.
It's my little bull. It's my little bull.
My little pony. My little pony.
This is just like turning into the snacking channel. I see everyone like starting to eat.
My Oreos got Pokemon on them.
Yeah, I got like freaking carrots and ranch. I didn't want to eat earlier when like Grant was on. I was so damn hungry though. So I was like, oh man,
he's actually a professional.
Yeah, he's not one of us.
He's not a scumbag like us.
Let's behave.
It's good to see those guys, man. Like proper film people coming in. Like
that's cool.
I've got a couple super big
Class
film buddies I want to like bring into the ecosystem, and that's again. Every profession is going to be piling in from our network. I mean, what? Gary had a picture with Kiyosaki the other day, right? You know what I mean? Like Wendy's is talking about other big boys coming in. All of us are doing our parts with different cuts of cloth to bring everything together, and it's just going to wind tighter and tighter and tighter till it's already unstoppable, but it's like, what do we build to make things unstoppable on top of the wave? Right. And that's the whole thing. It's like when you surf, you're on top of the wave, right? You are cresting on top of the momentum.
You're mounting the wave, if you will.
Right. Yep.
Hey, real quick, I just want to address Aman. Thanks for the tip, dude. Also, I rarely do one-on-one consults, but I mean, you could also hit me up if you really want to know. I focus more on HEX. I'm sure DC can help you in a more global sense. HEX and PulseChain is kind of what I do. I don't know if you guys do one-on-ones.
I dabble in the HEX and PulseChain world as well. If you have any general questions, just hit me up. If I got time,
you can ask me like a
definitely
question for free if it's easy, but you know, if you want me to like really get in deep, then
yeah, I can put the glove on and let's go.
yeah. How deep do you want to go? You know
gotta get a charge by the finger. No, just
Oh my God.
3-finger discount.
Terrible.
Ollie's like
Christ.
two in the pink.
He's not gonna hit us up. Now.
I haven't heard the shocker in a while.
That's right.
2 in the pink, 1 in the sink. See if we can get Coffee's channel taken off real quick.
Oh, I know the magic words. I can bring out my spell.
That's the
book.
same.
Yeah.
Just start going through the list. all the trigger words. Poor Brand. I remember when we almost got Brand's channel banned back in the day. Afterwards, like, hey guys, could you not do that? Like, YouTube sent me a message and said they didn't like it.
You mean not talking about graphic violence? Like,
My bad, Brand. Was that you? You got the new setup on your you have a new computer setup right now?
Me?
Yeah. So I got a couple monitors, the same audio setup, but the desk itself, a stand-up desk. Dude,
Life changing, right?
Dude, it's nice, man. It makes all the difference in the world. You know, you're not feeling so closed down.
Yeah.
So you dumped on us, huh? That's
right.
what
Oh
you're
yeah.
saying?
Oh, exactly.
Wow.
Yep. Brand's.
Diamond plated camera.
You guys heard it here. Brand's his desk
those
caused
ice
the
lenses
Dude.
he's got on there. Ice lenses.
There was some guy that accused me on HEX Trading of just dumping the market because the guy's the ENS was like ballybill.eth, and it's like, I don't even have an ENS, man. You fucking retard. No evidence whatsoever. That was kind of just
he came into
ridiculous.
He came into some random Telegram group. I think it was the UK Telegram group talking about it. It's like, bro, that's not Brand's address. Get the fuck out of here. He's like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. I am actually. It's like, it's not stress.
Brand is the most wholesome person of everyone.
And if Brand wants to fucking sell, he could sell anyway. So
he
go
can
fuck
do
off.
whatever the fuck he wants.
Are you entertained?
Are you entertained? Are you not entertained?
If Brand had to sell $1,000 for a new desk and a new microphone, I'm sure that didn't
cool.
fucking crash.
$1,000 is too much. You know?
We're all in trouble, everyone. Brand's desk crashed the price of HEX. Get out while you can. That's the new FUD.
If all of us, we all understand how to actually sell weight. That's the difference. Be the fucking like stabilization. Be the wall on the bottom. It's really not that hard. You be the stability, and you get dumped into, and you get your whatever you want. It's not hard. Be
limit orders.
It's really not that difficult, right? But I mean, people are silly, man.
It's a witch hunt. Yeah, it turns into this stupid witch hunt when what they really don't realize is that the people that are selling are the fucking plebs, like this, like
the ones that are yelling.
Yeah,
they're just projecting. That's all it is.
Yeah,
that's why I tell them all the time. It's like, are you projecting, bro? It's okay.
The people
like Motley bought a watch. It's all over, folks. It's like, yeah, it's still on credit crazy. Actually. 0% interest for 12 months.
Don't forget the strap, bro.
Yeah, this is $700 strap. Get wrecked.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I know, and people dumping right before the snapshot, whether it's in 2 months or 3 months, whatever. I mean, come on, it's right before one of the biggest events.
What's even crazier is like people are talking about sacrifice so you have some pulse to exchange. Just hold ETH. If you hold ETH, you have enough transactions to use your HEX, which gets forked over to then have market value in the ecosystem. It's ludicrous.
Yeah,
it's
you probably only need like 1 or 2 pulse. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, when it just clicked for me about the EHEX to PHEX liquidity pair, like that is one additional reason on top of everything else of like why you should not fucking sell your EHEX. Because if you I mean, what I didn't realize is this. It's like, yeah, people are going to go where they're treated best. They're going to go with a better user experience. But that also means they're going to bridge their EHEX to the better user experience too. You think people are going to want to continue to use EHEX like on the Ethereum chain? Once they have a little taste of PulseChain, they're going to bridge it all over to PulseChain too. And these liquidity pairs are high. We keep this high liquidity in the P hex EHEX pair. It's really hard to slosh the price around, and eventually they end up at parity anyway because they're all pricing each other.
Well,
Yeah,
on top of that, like millionaires don't care about $100 or $1,000 gas fees. So
yeah, the whales don't care. And guess what?
Again,
90-something% is owned by the OA almost, and then after that you have several large whales that have no desire, that are Genesis block Ethereum.
Godwell didn't buy Pulse or sacrifice.
Okay, so there's clearly going to be a backstop even on EHEX in the future. So it's just like, why play that trader's game of like, oh, I'm going to try to emergency in stake and sell all my EHEX? Like that's to me, that's just a losing play in the long run. Like you're going to regret it.
It's literally the worst game theory in the world. I want to like take. If anyone that
shake the baby.
If anyone actually had the merit to come on with me and debate me why they think that would do it, I will crush them. So, like, even if you were scared of the gas fees, like I said earlier, you cash out your PHEX, move some liquidity, move it over the bridge, pay the fucking funds, and now you just got more yield, right? You don't turn two different gas pumps off, right? You don't turn off your equity builders, and having two is always better than one. It doesn't even matter because they can fluctuate. Boggles my mind.
Hey, really quick, thank you, Hexercise, for the Canadian $5. Those are special dollars, those Canadian dollars. So appreciate that. I think we're gonna call it a night right here. No pun intended.
A night.
Yeah, so we're at about an hour and a half. So
seems about it's time to call it after that.
Yeah, that's the last bad joke you'll have to hear for the rest of the night. Thanks guys for coming. I mean, we got a whole full house today, so exciting times. Buy the dip. Talk to you guys on the next one.